and welcome to the episode of Tesseract Talks, the place where we put spotlight on tech trends, startups, and VCs. I'm your host, Marko, the founder and CEO of Tesseract Analytics, and it is my pleasure today to welcome our guest, Carolyn Crandall, one of the cybersecurity CMO veterans. Hi, Carolyn. I think the last time we saw each other was about 3 or 4 years ago in London at InfoSecurity. How have you been?
It's been quite a ride since then, but things are great. Yeah, really going well.
Great. Well, there are a couple of things that I want to talk to you about today. So let's start first by you telling us about your career background, where and how you started, and then chronologically to what are you doing today?
So it's been a great career, and I can hardly believe that it's been over 30 years. Yeah, I started when I was like 6. But it's been like not only just in technology, but for like women's movement. It's been an incredible career. I started as a student in electrical engineering and computer science and kind of tripped into high tech. And applying for a job at a newspaper of all things way back when, but it was around being a marketing assistant for a newly founded computer high-tech company. And, one thing kind of led to another. And I've had such a great fortune of just catching waves and transitions. And I think this is what is in the blood of entrepreneurs is you look for things, disruptions in the market. And at the time it was computers coming into play. We didn't have them except for big mainframes back then. So personal computers coming into play. And then you had to network these personal computers, which started my run at Cisco, where I was there for about 8 years, very, very early on. And what it took to, again, go from that sneaker net world and floppy drives and things to then having a network technology and routers and bridges. And then all of a sudden you've got an internet and you're connecting things and, we better start securing that technology as well. And so, then into cybersecurity. And I've had an opportunity of working on network infrastructure, storage infrastructure, SaaS as a service, cloud. I mean, everything has kind of come into play. And then you kind of fast forward to where we are today, or where I've been for the last 15 years is in cybersecurity. I just love the space because there's so much to learn and so much innovation that continues to come from your basic firewall to now those really complex cybersecurity solutions that everybody needs, because whether you're the target or the accidental target of a cybersecurity attack, the consequences remain large. And so it's just been super fun for me to go through paths of both sales and marketing experiences along the way to really now being able to build up the marketing programs for these small startup companies that are starting with brand fit, right? How do I even figure out if this is something that people want to buy, and helping companies build positioning, messaging, demand generation, awareness of these things, partnerships, etc. It's been really interesting. So why exactly what I'm doing today as the CEO of Marticulate is the fractional CMO work. I've always done advisory for a long time now, but I decided to go and take the plunge, kind of like you did with your company. I really want to work with a lot of different companies and help them get through those hurdles. And they could be a new company trying to enter the market. They could be a company that's been challenged, like that they have not been able to break through. Sometimes it's a turnaround. Sometimes it's an interim CMO, but I find it's really fun to work with the different CEOs, see the different tech stacks, see the different challenges, and help them through. So right now I do a mix of fractional CMO and advisory and interim work and other strategy work with companies, which gives me a lot of insight both into cybersecurity as well as IT infrastructure.
Fascinating. So you have extensive experience in cybersecurity industry. What do you see as the 3 main trends happening now in 2025?
Yeah, AI. But
That's on all of our feeds every day.
I know. It was interesting. I was looking at something and it was with an event organizer and I was curious as to what are the problems that people are trying to solve, because that helps us kind of matchmake with people at events. And it was just universally like AI down every column. And everybody's at different levels of maturity, but AI is here to stay, and we've all got to figure out how to embrace it and harness it for what it's best for our environment. But you need to go through thinking about it thoughtfully. But if you're not at least experimenting with AI, you need to be. right? And I know there's things of security and bias and hallucinations, but there's a lot of things that you can do to control that so that it doesn't expose your organization and you can reap a lot of benefit. And so I do think in cybersecurity, there's the two dimensions of AI. There's the AI that the attackers are using for attack, and they're not asking and waiting for permission and committees to get together to decide if they can use it or not. They're like, use every tool in their toolbox to attack. And this is obviously a very effective one for making things like phishing emails super effective, for looking for 0 days and unpatched things at a way that we could never have even imagined before. And that's where that spray piece comes in, that even a small company, that you are not the intended target, but they're just shooting it out there and you may just get caught in the crossfire. So I do think, the AI is a tool to use. The AI that the tools are attacking with are big things. And the other dynamic, it's kind of like a third and maybe a third and a fourth type of a thing, is there is consolidation happening in the market today. And it's very challenging, especially for smaller companies, to be able to figure out how do I deal with all of this, right? And how do I make the right choices? And what do I buy? What do I train on? What do I skill up my people with? And so MDR and MSSPs, I think, are going to take an even more and more important for a lot of businesses. Things continue to grow. Because the one last thought I'll share on that is if you think about the problems we've solved, we didn't have data before. We needed data to figure out what was going on. And we kind of figured that out. Now we have too much data. And then we said, all right, let's throw some automation and workflow processes and machine learning at that. And that helped a lot. But especially in cybersecurity, where things fell down was the last mile. But you still have to have a human there. So this is where I think, again, it ties back to the AI, that AI lets you fix that last mile by taking the repeatable tasks and make you more efficient. So I guess my third trend kind of falls in, I know my last trend falls into the human, right? It's a big trend that's how we make the human more efficient, and not be afraid that AI is replacing the human, because it's not. It is making the human so much more effective that we can actually do the stuff that's actually a lot more interesting to do than a repeatable thing that you have to do over and over and over again, that is just kind of work versus interesting and strategic things we can do.
Okay, great. And we keep on hearing, obviously, about AI on daily basis now. How do you see AI reshaping business resilience?
I think it's two pieces. I mean, today, I think what the reality is with AI and cybersecurity is, for the resilience, you can use AI today to improve your incident response. So correlating all of that data, so you're able to find the threats more effectively. You can use it for being able to then define the workflow and the steps that need to happen in incident response. So if you can take the investigation and triage part of it, and now with AI, and what I've seen at RMDR, one of the companies that I do fractional CMO work for, is you can take something that took an analyst 30 minutes to address an alert and do 90% of the alerts to fully triage them in under 5 minutes. So think about the efficacy and how it helps build the cyber resilience. You take so many of your alerts, which so often are false positives, but you actually not only just, but you close them with transparency, right? So what exactly was it that you saw? What are the actions that were taken? And then what is the playbook that's recorded? So whether it's for compliance or other threat hunting, you have really robust documentation, where one of the angst that people had with MDRs before was the transparency. It was closed, but you didn't really know, was it really benign or should it be looked at? So I think where AI really comes into play is making sure that that incident response is fast, high quality, consistent, running 24/7. And I think that is one of the most material and quantifiable things that can be used today. And then, of course, there's more that we'll be able to fire up for better detection, better threat hunting, predictive analytics around what might happen or how an attacker may attack. There's a lot that can be, could be done there. And then, of course, we see AI embedded in the tools themselves that just make the tools operate better. Like, I love the thing, another company I work with is, on an advisory standpoint, is Accountlio, and they do cyber deception, and they use AI now to make their decoys and lures mirror match to the real things. And so they're as authentic as the phishing emails, right? You can't tell the difference. And so there's definitely applications of AI around making your product just a better product that can be considered as well. So all of these things, when applied to the businesses, will make them much more resilient against the attackers that are also using that AI.
I remember with deception technology, I think that was the first time I learned about it when we spoke about 4 years ago. Well, there are very few people in the industry who have a marketing background in scaling startups as yourself. So what are your tips for CMOs? How to scale early stage startups? What should they focus on and what to avoid?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing is the enterprise playbook kind of goes out the window because all of the tools that you're used to using, you can't afford, right? Because you're trying to do things that are very cost effective. So fundamentally in marketing, there is a massive amount of marketing waste, right? We have such a hard time trying to figure out how to get to our target audience. And so my advice to people is be very clear about your ICP. Who are you going after and who are you not going after? And stay very true. If you're looking at your lead performance results and the meetings that are getting set, and they're not with your target audience, then you need to change course and adjust. And there's a lot of tools today that will help you refine, challenge everything from finding your target ICP to personalizing your communications with them to writing other content that helps, build the buyer's journey content. There's a lot of things that can be done with AI that I encourage every marketer to embrace. And what I love is it's so accessible. I mean, a license of ChatGPT is what, $20 a month? I mean, we can all afford to have that and try it as a tool. I'm not a proponent of just, turn it on and let it run, right? It needs to be prompted and supervised and conditioned. And so you need to be prepared to invest some time that way. But I think the benefits of doing experimentation with AI is great. I also love as a marketer that if I start talking to people about tools they've never heard of, then that means I'm trying to give a competitive advantage. And that's what you should look at for your companies too, to go, if everybody runs the exact same playbook, how are you going to get that much of a different result, right? Maybe marginally if your messaging position was a little bit better, but think of creative ways and have a set amount of time and budget for experimentation. That way you can find out, can you get that market fit? Can you get that demand gen program? But can you do it in a way that's much more efficient and scalable for your size company? So those are some of the fundamental things, but I really do think early stage, it's all about being really clear about market fit and then catering your programs to make sure that you are hitting the messaging, the positioning, and it's getting to the right people and the right channels that you want. And then being prepared to fail fast, right? If it's not working, don't keep throwing good money after bad. Be prepared to try something new and different. And ask your peers. Like I talk to my peers all the time. And I talk to people that have individual practitioners. I work with a cybersecurity society. I think they're called Marketing Community. I should probably know the name, but they're a community that's out there. And I go to the practitioners and I talk to them and I ask them, what are you using? What are you doing? And what do you like or dislike? And that's when you find some of the really innovative stuff because they do the job every day and they know what makes them more efficient versus, it sounded good, but when I went to use it, it was too hard, too complicated, or didn't give a big enough difference. But they have their favorites and they're great people to learn.
I'm sure our audience will benefit from your advice. And if someone wants to reach out to you to explore consulting or partnership opportunities, where can they find you?
Yeah. So I have a website at marticulate.com. And of course, I'm on LinkedIn. And so you can definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. Love to reach out and chat with folks. And, always love the opportunity, even if it's not for a specific consulting opportunity, just to keep in touch with folks. And again, learn from each other what are kind of the new and innovative things that we could be trying to make the world a better and safer place.
Great. Well, that was all for today. Thank you, Carolyn, for your valuable insights. And I hope our paths will cross again in near future. Until next episode, wishing you and our audience all the best.
Great to be here.